Hey, good morning, everybody. So listen, I want to talk to you today about hearing God's voice. That's sort of a something we struggle with, something that we have questions about. Let me start. Let me start with just a couple of illustrations. Um, Years ago, and I mean many years ago, I was in a gym. I was in a gym. There were thousands of people in this gym. It was a huge gym at a university, which so it was like a big gym that had a bunch of different courts in it. But it was wide open. There were thousands of people in there. It was as loud and as noisy as it could be. Now, I did not know it, but my father was in that gym as well. And my father was looking for me. Again, I didn't know this. I didn't have any clue at all. And my father yelled my name, Keith. He just yelled out, Keith. And I can distinctly remember I did not see my father. I did not know he was there. I did not know he was looking for me. I didn't know anybody was looking for me. I'm just in this gym doing what I'm supposed to be doing, actually, when I'm there. Thousands of other people, all kinds of noises, all kinds of voices. I've got my own focus. And suddenly my heart, now, even before my brain processed, hey, that's your dad calling your name, my heart like just started racing. And I felt like I was a little child, and I wasn't a child at the time, but I felt like I was a little child, and it was my dad yelling at me to get me in trouble. Um, but anyhow, so I knew it was my dad. I knew he was calling my name. It just took a second for my brain to process it. How did I know? Out of all those voices, how did I know? Is it just because they call me? No, it's because I know my dad. It's because I have a relationship with my dad, and I knew my father. And when he called me, I knew it. I knew his voice. A lot of you mothers could identify with this if you've ever been a mother or are a mother now. I could take your little tiny little child, and I could put him in a room with hundreds of others, and you not be able to see, but you could only hear. You would be able to tell me when your child started crying. That's right. You'd be able to tell me. How do I know, or how do you know it's your child that's crying? It's out of relationship. I want you to know something, that hearing God's voice is based in relationship. If you really want to hear God's voice, there's not a process, there's not a step-by-step plan. It is relational, and you will hear it in relationship. In John chapter 10, Jesus says this: He who enters by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. To him the doorkeeper opens, and the sheep hear his voice. And he calls his own sheep by name, and he leads them out. And when he brings out his own sheep, he goes before them. And the sheep follow him because they know his voice. Yet they will by no means follow a stranger, but they will flee from him, for they do not know the voice of strangers. So first of all, you have to enter into a relationship with God through his son, Jesus Christ. That's first and foremost. Have you ever made a commitment to follow God through his son, Jesus Christ? Now, I need you to hear what I'm saying. I'm not asking you if you've ever been baptized. I'm not asking you if you ever joined a church. I'm not asking you if you've ever prayed a sinner's prayer. I'm asking you, have you ever made a commitment to follow God through Christ, to make God's kingdom, his will and his purposes, the goal and the purpose and the will of your life? An absolute will to follow him. You see, in this passage, the sheep are following the shepherd. And so you want to know the voice of God. You have to enter into that relationship where you are going to follow him. And then you have to cultivate the relationship through prayer, through study of the word. To be honest, early on in your walk with God, a lot of your seeing God's will in your life will be as you look back, and you'll look back and you'll go, oh yeah, that was a good decision. Or you'll look back and you go, oh, that was a poor decision. I missed God's will on that one. But as you study and as you get to know God, you're going to learn to hear his voice. You're going to learn to recognize when he's speaking to you through his word. You're going to learn to recognize you when he's prompting you in your heart. You're going to learn to recognize when in his sovereignty, he just takes control and he just guides you and leads you down the path that he wants you to go down. The key to hearing God's voice, I wish I could give you step 1, step 2, step 3, but I can't. The key to hearing God's voice is in a relationship. Enter that relationship and begin to follow him now, and you'll begin to hear his voice. God bless you guys. Get out there, faith today.